is good, YouTube? Quinn Wade Basketball Analysis coming to you with a quick video. I wanted to let you guys know I got some new merchandise available, not just t-shirt anymore. I got different type of t-shirt, different type of shirts and logos that you can purchase on my spread shirt, and also hoodies now. We have expanded and added more to the channel and more merchandise for the brand. Thanks for supporting. It will be in the description and the links will be in the comment section below. Thanks for helping me and supporting the movement. Quinn Wade Basketball Analysis. I'm going. Well, it's good, YouTube. Quinn Wade Basketball Analysis coming to y'all with this video Friday, and it's basically to talk about probably my favorite player outside of Kevin Durant in the NBA, and it's Kawhi the Claw Leonard, a guy that has been one of the most dominant player over the last couple of years, becoming an All NBA player multiple time Defensive Player of the Year in a row. Not only that, a guy that has won multiple Finals MVPs, and a guy that was also close to winning the MVP, and has shown that he has enough talent to really help your team on both sides of the court. People say that he's the best two-way player. People say that he was the best player coming into this season because he was just so dominant and just so exciting and just, carrying the Toronto Raptors to the finals and being able to beat the beat up Warriors and win Toronto their first championship in the history of the Toronto Raptors. Something that people didn't even think was going to happen. People didn't think that Kawhi Leonard was going to literally be able to do those things. As crazy as it sounds, people had question marks about Kawhi Leonard staying healthy. People had question marks if was he even going to stay? Was he going to fit? How will he be able to play? Because remember, this is coming off seasons where he didn't play that much prior to going to Toronto. This is a guy that I believe played 9 or some games, and he missed the whole rest of the playoffs the year before, and then he comes into the season doesn't even play that many games, and it was a big question mark because you don't know how healthy he was. You don't know if it was going to keep him out even more games. You didn't know how well he was going to play because when he came back that season, he didn't really play like Kawhi Leonard. He didn't play like himself that season, and Toronto still was able to give up some packages to gamble, and it pays off when he's able to get a certain situation when the Warriors was not at their best and things ended up opening up for them. They was able to take advantage of it, and you have to give them credit for beating the Milwaukee Bucks fully healthy, and that was allowed them to go to the NBA Finals and finish it off, which they did. So Kawhi Leonard is always respected because of how hard he played last year. But we all seen Kawhi Leonard limping last year throughout the playoffs. We thought something wasn't right. We started seeing him limp, and he didn't have surgery for what I know in the off season. And it was kind of shock to me when he said that he wouldn't be relying on the same strategy as last year, which is load management. I don't really personally have a problem with load management because if Kawhi Leonard isn't 100% healthy, then I understand why he doesn't play. But we also don't know his body. We don't know his pain threshold. We don't know what's really going on. All we just know is what they released to us in Toronto and the Clippers, and that's all the information that we have. But what I will say is Kawhi Leonard still one of the elite players in the league? This is a guy that doesn't play all the games. He sets out a lot. And even though he's not one of the worst players in the league, his numbers have not been consistent this year. And part of the play is the load management. He's going against certain teams and not knowing what to expect. And he's going against certain teams and not playing the most dominant basketball. You look at one point, this was a guy that was shooting 50-40 and almost 90. And his numbers have consistently went down to 48 and 38, 46 and 31 when he played 9 games that year. Then the year he came back to Toronto, he was able to get closer to the numbers that he had before, but his defense just wasn't the same when he came back from the injury, which it makes sense because, it was a underbody injury, so it's going to affect his mobility, it's going to affect his athleticism, his leaping ability, and it made sense. But he only played 60 games last year, and he did have the whole off season to get some things right as they He didn't play overseas or anything. Then you look at the Clippers. He already played 22 games, but he's playing 31 minutes, which is the less minutes he ever played since he was a junior. Well, you can say a senior in the Spurs. He played 31.8 minutes, and now he's playing 31.5, which is less than that. But he's shooting 45% from the field. He's getting 19 shots a game, 35% from three, which is decent. 86% from the free throw line, 7.9 rebounds, a career high 4.9 assists, but also a career high 3.5 turnovers and 25 points per game. But I feel like these injuries have really destroyed his value a little bit. Not only could he not legitimately play every game, he has to play on a loaded roster so they can continue to win when he doesn't play. But his defense has been gone. He's no longer, in my personal opinion, an elite level defender. He's probably not even reliable of a scorer. He is putting up decent numbers when you look at the 25 points to 45 and the 35, but he has so many games where he just checks out or he just looks plain bad offensively and defensively. And I thought that Kawhi Leonard had a great case to being the best player in the world. To me, he took a huge step back this season, and I don't really think you can call him the best player in the world no more this season. I think he has taken his name out of that argument and the MVP conversation. In October, I feel like he was the MVP with those first 1.5 weeks in October. So you know what? It looked like Kawhi Leonard can win MVP, but now it doesn't even look, in my personal opinion, like he's in that discussion, which hurts because I am a Kawhi Leonard fan, like I said before. But if your defense ain't at the elite level anymore and your offensive game has, deteriorated a little bit, and you're not playing as many games, and your team is pretty loaded, and they got Paul George back now, they're gonna have to find ways to win games without him. And if that happens, then that hurts his MVP case. So I think that Kawhi Leonard has really prioritized being healthy for the playoffs more than being there for his teammates. And I feel like he prioritized it more than trying to have the best record and play the best basketball in the entire NBA season. And the fans get hit too because they only can see Kawhi Leonard at certain games, and certain games he won't even play. I remember he came here and he played in the Bucks arena, but he didn't play in the Clippers arena when they had Giannis the first time down there. And you don't want to see that because these are the teams that the Clippers are going to have to beat if they want to win the title. And these are the teams that, are either beating them or they're not able to figure out how good they are because Kawhi Leonard is not playing in these games. So you can't really gauge how great the Clippers are if he's not going to play in the games that matter most. I can see if he played in all the important games, but he misses those games too. So it's kind of hard to really see how great this Clippers team can be when Kawhi Leonard consistently misses games, which is unfortunate for the Clipper fans and the people that really want to see how great this Clipper team is. Even though they do have a great record and they're the number 2 team in the West, they still do have chemistry problems, in my personal opinion, and they still do have to work out a lot of kinks in their offense and in their defense because they haven't been the defensive team we thought they was going to be, and they also haven't been the most offensive team that we see. But a lot of that does have to do with Kawhi Leonard. The games that he sits out and the games that he doesn't play also impact their overall numbers as a team. But that's just something that the fans have to keep an eye out on. If he's not going to be able to play against the big games, if he's not going to be able to play back to backs, you really do have to start questioning how good this Clipper team is. How good can they really be when you don't know what Kawhi Leonard is going to miss or do next? And I think that that's the biggest question: is Kawhi Leonard still an elite player in the NBA at this point? Because he really hasn't played dominant on either ends of the floor so far this season. He still should be an all NBA player when it comes to numbers. But when you look at overall impact on his team and overall impact this season, you have to give him less credit for the success of the Clippers, even though he did help them win a lot of games. It really just messes up how we think and feel about the Clippers because he's not always available throughout this season so far and most likely in the future. So let me know what you guys think, how you feel about load management. Do you think that Kawhi Leonard is still an all NBA player this year, even though he does have the numbers? He's not gonna have the games played. He's gonna miss a lot of big games, and you really can't gauge how good the Clippers is until he can be fully healthy, which doesn't seem like that's going to happen because he hasn't been fully healthy in the last 3 years. And his defense isn't the same. His offense took a hit, and he's still missing games throughout the season and back to backs, even if it's a big game. Those are big hits to his resume. Those are big hits to his play this year. And unfortunately, as a Kawhi Leonard fan, I still have to be real and I still have to be objective. And Kawhi Leonard hasn't been what I thought he should be in so far this season. I came in with high expectations. I came in thinking that he was going to finally be healthy and be able to play a regular season like everybody else. But that's obviously not going to be the case. And that's obviously a disappointment to his fans and players and people around the league. But also, it's a disappointment to Kawhi Leonard himself because he won't have the same impact on his team that he had in San Antonio and a little bit in Toronto. But to me, he got a little bit more worse than he was the last 3 years outside of the year that he played the 9 games. But Kawhi Leonard is not looking good for his career. This is not going to look good on his resume. Kawhi Leonard is legitimately an all NBA first team player, especially with Kevin Durant being out. But he won't even make that to me this year, which is unfortunate because I look at him as the best small forward outside of Kevin Durant, and now he didn't even take advantage of that, and his play has went down. Now we're gonna see what they do for the rest of the season and how they prepare for the postseason, and if Kawhi Leonard is going to be able to have the dominant run that he did last year for the Raptors, can he do it for the Clippers? Even though they do have better talent than they did again with the Raptors, I still feel like they need Kawhi Leonard to be at the elite level because they are in the Western Conference, and it is great teams in the Western Conference, and they're going to need him to give everything he can if they want to get to the NBA Finals with this current roster. But let me know what you guys think about Kawhi Leonard load management, how he has played, how you think about him, how you view him, and do you feel like this is only going to get worse? The seasons he got worse, worse, and worse. This year is not an exception, but that could be a bad thing for the Clippers, and it could be a bad thing for the fans, especially if the injury continues to get worse or he's going to be able to break down eventually and get a severe injury. That doesn't look good for him either. But let me know what you guys think about this situation. Like this video, check out my older videos on my channel. I have many playlists. I break down rookies, I break down players, I break down summer league. I do cover the draft, and I got a mock draft up already. Not only that, I do podcasts, and I also talk about the game of basketball, whether it comes to summer league, free agency, trade deadline, buyouts, and also I cover top 10 discussions and stuff like that. So you like this type of video, you like the NBA, check out my older videos and my playlists. I enjoy making these videos. You guys enjoy watching.